I kept score of every dollar my husband spent on his sons versus my daughter. When my stepson asked to attend her private school, I told him he wasn't worth his father's money. He was 12 and just wanted to be part of our family. My husband took his boys that night and never brought them back. He sent me one final email: "Your words left scars he still carries. The boys have a mother now who loves them unconditionally. Please don't contact us again." That was 3 years ago. I told a 12-year-old boy that his father's money wasn't for him. I said those words out loud to a child who had done nothing wrong except want the same education as his stepsister. I looked at his face, saw the hope drain out of his eyes, and felt nothing but satisfaction. "Your father's income is for this household," I said. "And this household's priority is Madison's education. You'll go to public school like everyone else." He wasn't everyone else. He was my husband's son. And I was telling him he didn't matter. I'm writing this at 2 a.m. because my husband moved out 3 months ago and took his boys with him. Because my daughter won't look at me the same way anymore. Because I destroyed a family that could have been beautiful, and I did it because I couldn't stand the thought of sharing anything with children who weren't mine. My name doesn't matter. I'm 44 years old. I was married for 4 years to a man who loved me despite every red flag I gave him. I had a daughter who trusted me and 2 stepsons who tried desperately to be part of our family. I pushed them all away. And now I'm alone, exactly like I deserve. Let me tell you how I became this monster. I married Robert when I was 40. He was 45, divorced, father of 2 boys. Nathan was 15, quiet and studious, the kind of kid who spent his weekends reading and building things. Oliver was 12, energetic and hopeful, always trying to make people laugh. I had Madison. 14 years old, my pride and joy, the center of my universe since her father walked out when she was 3. For 11 years, it had been just me and Madison. We were a team. A unit. Everything I did was for her. Every sacrifice, every late night, every decision. She was my whole world. When Robert came into my life, I told myself I was ready to expand that world. I was lying. Robert was wonderful. Successful financial consultant, generous, patient, absolutely devoted to his children. He'd fought for custody after his ex-wife developed a substance problem. He'd raised those boys largely on his own for 5 years before meeting me. He loved them fiercely. Unconditionally. The way I loved Madison. I should have seen that as beautiful. Instead, I saw it as competition. From the beginning, I kept mental tallies. How much Robert spent on his boys versus how much he spent on Madison. How much attention he gave them versus her. How much space they took up in a house I considered mine. I never said it out loud. Not at first. I just quietly resented them. Nathan was too quiet. I told myself he was cold, unfriendly, that he didn't like me. The truth was, he was a 15-year-old trying to navigate a new family dynamic while protecting his younger brother. Oliver was too loud. Too eager. Too present. He'd follow Madison around, trying to be her friend, and I'd feel irritated that he was taking her attention away from me. I wanted a husband. I didn't want his children. But Robert came as a package deal, and I convinced myself I could learn to love them. I never learned. The private school issue started 8 months into our marriage. Madison had been attending Westbrook Academy since 6th grade. It was expensive, prestigious, the kind of school that opened doors to elite colleges. I'd scraped and saved for years to afford it. It was the one thing I was proud of providing for her. When Robert and I merged households, his income transformed our finances. Suddenly, things that had been impossible were within reach. A bigger house. Better vacations. Security I'd never had before. And Oliver started asking about Westbrook. "Dad, do you think I could go to the same school as Madison? It looks really cool. They have a robotics team and a debate club and..." I overheard this conversation and my blood went cold. My school. My daughter's school. The one thing that was supposed to be just hers. Oliver wanted to take that too. I pulled Robert aside that night. "Oliver can't go to Westbrook." "Why not? We can afford it now." Both boys could transfer, actually. Nathan's been struggling socially at his school, and Oliver's so excited about the robotics program. "Both boys?" I couldn't hide my horror. "Robert, that school is for Madison. It's her thing." It could be their thing too. Siblings going to the same school. Building bonds. They're not siblings. They're step-siblings. There's a difference. Robert looked at me strangely. "They're all our children now. Madison is my child. Nathan and Oliver are yours." The words hung in the air. I should have heard how ugly they sounded. Should have recognized the line I was drawing. Instead, I doubled down. I've sacrificed everything to give Madison that education. I'm not going to dilute it by sending your boys there too. They have a perfectly good public school. They do. But Oliver's been begging for months. He sees Madison come home with stories about her friends, her teachers, her opportunities. He wants to be part of that. He can't be part of everything Madison has. She's worked hard for her place there. She was enrolled by her mother. She didn't earn her spot any more than Oliver would. That's not the point. Then what is the point? I couldn't say the real point. That I didn't want to share. That seeing Oliver happy at Madison's school would feel like losing something. That those boys already had Robert's love, and I couldn't stand them having anything else. The point is that your money should be going toward this household's priorities. And Madison's education is the priority. My money? Robert's voice went quiet. I thought we were building a life together. I thought my income was our income. It is. But I get to have a say in how it's spent. And I say it's not being spent on private school for your boys. We fought for 2 hours that night. Robert couldn't understand why I was being so rigid. I couldn't admit the real reason. In the end, he dropped it. He told Oliver that they'd revisit the conversation later. Oliver's face when Robert delivered the news. He didn't cry. He didn't yell. He just nodded, said okay, Dad, and went to his room. I felt like I'd won. I hadn't won anything. I'd just started a war I was destined to lose. 3 months later, Oliver brought it up again. We were at dinner. Madison was talking about an upcoming trip her school was taking to Washington, D.C., a leadership program. Expensive, prestigious, the kind of opportunity that would look amazing on college applications. Oliver was listening with wide eyes. That sounds so cool, he said. I wish I could do stuff like that. Madison shrugged. You could if you went to Westbrook. She didn't mean anything by it. She was just stating a fact. But I saw Oliver's face light up with hope. Dad, can we talk about it again? About me transferring? Robert looked at me. I looked at Oliver. No. But. I said no. This conversation is over. Why not? Dad said we could afford it. I've been getting good grades. I'd work really hard. It's not about grades or hard work. You're not going, and that's final. But that's not fair. Madison gets to go. Why can't I? And then I said it. The thing I can never take back. Because your father's money is for Madison, not for you. She's the priority in this household. You and your brother have a perfectly good public school. Stop being delusional and accept that you're not entitled to everything Madison has. The silence at that table. Robert's face. Nathan's face. Oliver's face. Even Madison looked horrified. Did you just say my money is only for Madison? Robert's voice was barely a whisper. I said she's the priority. No. You said my money is for her. Not for my sons. My sons. Robert, you're twisting my words. I heard exactly what you said. And so did they. Oliver was crying now. Silent tears streaming down his face. Nathan had put his arm around his brother, glaring at me with pure hatred. I just meant that Madison's education has always been the focus. We made sacrifices for it before you came along, and before I came along. Robert nodded slowly. So I'm just the wallet. My children are inconveniences. And Madison is the only one who matters. That's not what I said. That's exactly what you said. You just didn't use those words. He stood up from the table. Boys, go pack a bag. We're staying at Grandma's tonight. Robert, you're overreacting. I'm reacting appropriately to my wife telling my children that they don't deserve their father's resources. That they're less than her daughter. That they should stop being delusional for wanting the same opportunities. I didn't mean it like that. How did you mean it? I couldn't answer. Because I had meant it exactly like that. Nathan and Oliver packed their bags in silence. I tried to stop them, tried to apologize, tried to explain. Nathan looked at me at the front door. I knew you hated us, he said quietly. I knew from the beginning. But I thought maybe, if we were good enough, if we stayed out of your way, you'd eventually accept us. He shook his head. I was stupid. You were never going to see us as family. We were always just obstacles between you and what you wanted. Nathan, that's not true. It's exactly true. And my brother has spent 2 years trying to make you like him. Following you around. Complimenting you. Trying so hard to be good enough. And you just told him that no matter what he does, he'll never matter as much as Madison. Oliver was standing behind his brother, face blotchy from crying. I just wanted to go to school with my stepsister, he whispered. I just wanted to be part of the family. They left. Robert didn't come home that night. Or the next night. Or the night after that. He called me on day 4. We need to talk about what happens next. I'll apologize. I'll fix this. Just come home. An apology doesn't fix telling my sons they're worth less than your daughter. An apology doesn't undo 2 years of treating them like second-class citizens in their own home. I didn't treat them like. Yes, you did. I saw it. I made excuses for it. I told myself you were adjusting, that blending families takes time, that you'd eventually love them. I do love them. Don't lie to me. Not now. You tolerated them because they came with me. But you never wanted them. You never saw them as yours. And the moment they asked for something that belonged to Madison, you showed exactly who you are. I started crying. What do you want me to do? I want you to understand what you've done. Oliver hasn't stopped crying since that dinner. He keeps asking what he did wrong, why you hate him, why he's not good enough to matter. He's 12 years old and he thinks he's worthless because his stepmother told him he doesn't deserve his own father's love. I didn't say that. You said his father's money isn't for him. To a 12-year-old, that means his father isn't for him either. I had no response. I'm filing for separation, Robert said. I need to protect my boys. And I can't do that while they're living with someone who sees them as less than. Robert, please. We can do counseling. We can work through this. We could have worked through a lot of things. But you don't see a problem with what you said. You're not sorry for hurting my children. You're sorry you got caught. He was right. I was sorry I'd said it out loud. I wasn't sorry I felt it. And he could tell the difference. Madison came to me after Robert's call. Mom, what's happening? Is Robert leaving? Are Nathan and Oliver coming back? I don't know, sweetie. We're working through some things. Because of what you said at dinner? I couldn't look at her. What you said was really mean, Mom. Oliver was so excited about maybe going to my school. He talks about it all the time. About how we could be in clubs together and he could help me with math because he's really good at it. You'd want him at your school? Yeah. He's annoying sometimes, but he's my stepbrother. And Nathan's really cool once you get to know him. He taught me how to code last summer. She paused. I thought we were becoming a family. We are a family. Families don't tell some kids they matter less than others. My 14-year-old daughter understood something I'd refused to see. I messed up, I admit it. Yeah. You did. And I don't understand why. She looked at me with confusion. You always taught me to be kind to people. To treat everyone fairly. But you don't treat Nathan and Oliver fairly. You never have. I tried. You didn't try. You avoided them. You got annoyed when they talked to you. You made faces when Robert did stuff with them. She shook her head. I noticed. I just didn't say anything because I didn't want to make you mad. Madison. Oliver looks up to you, Mom. He always says nice things about you to his friends. He tells them his stepmom is really pretty and smart and he hopes you'll like him someday. Her voice cracked. And you told him he's not worth as much as me. She went to her room. I sat alone in the kitchen, surrounded by the wreckage of my own making. I'd spent 2 years protecting my daughter from sharing anything with her stepbrothers. And my daughter had been building a family with them behind my back. She'd seen what I refused to see. That Nathan and Oliver weren't threats. They were brothers. And I'd just destroyed that. The separation became a divorce. Robert tried counseling. I went to 3 sessions before I quit because the therapist kept asking me questions I didn't want to answer. Why do you feel Madison deserves more than Nathan and Oliver? I never said she deserves more. I said she's the priority. Isn't that the same thing? No. Priorities are about resource allocation. Madison's education was already established when Robert and I got married. It made sense to continue that investment rather than diluting resources across 3 children. Diluting resources. Is that how you see Nathan and Oliver's needs? As dilution? I didn't answer. Let me ask you something else. If Robert had a daughter instead of sons, would you feel differently? What do you mean? Would you be more willing to share Madison's school, Madison's opportunities, Madison's resources, with a stepdaughter than with stepsons? I wanted to say no. I wanted to believe I wasn't that person. But the therapist's question revealed something ugly. It wasn't about sons versus daughters. It was about mine versus his. I didn't want to share Madison with anyone. I didn't want her to have siblings who might become equals. I didn't want Robert's children to become her children, our children, a real blended family. I wanted to keep Madison separate. Special. Entirely mine. And I'd sacrifice 2 innocent boys to maintain that. The therapist suggested I had attachment issues. Abandonment trauma from Madison's father leaving. A need to control that manifested as exclusion. I stopped going to therapy because I didn't want to keep hearing the truth. The divorce was finalized 6 months after the dinner incident. Robert was generous. He didn't have to be. Under the circumstances, he could have made things difficult. But he wanted it over. He wanted his boys away from me. I kept the house because it was mine before the marriage. I kept my car, my savings, my dignity. I lost everything else. Robert got remarried 18 months later. I found out through Madison, who still saw Nathan and Oliver occasionally. They'd remained step-siblings in spirit even after the divorce. She'd go to Robert's house for dinners sometimes, text with the boys, maintain the relationship I tried to destroy. Robert's wife is really nice, Madison told me after one of these visits. She treats Nathan and Oliver like they're her own kids. She helped Oliver with his science fair project. She goes to all of Nathan's robotics competitions. I felt something twist in my stomach. That's nice. She also enrolled Oliver in private school. Not Westbrook, but a really good one with the robotics program he wanted. He's doing so well, Mom. He won an award last month. Oliver got his private school. Not from me. Never from me. But he got it. And Nathan's applying to colleges now. His stepmom helped him with his essays. She told him she's proud of him. I should have said those things. Done those things. I should have been the one helping Oliver with science fairs and Nathan with college essays. Instead, I told them they weren't worth their father's money. Did they ever ask about me? I asked quietly. Madison hesitated. Oliver did once. A few months ago. He asked if you were okay. What did you tell him? I said you were fine. That you missed them. She paused. Do you miss them? Did I? I miss what could have been. I miss the family we might have built if I hadn't been so selfish. I miss the version of myself that could have loved them. But did I miss Nathan and Oliver specifically? The boys themselves? I didn't know them well enough to miss them. And that was entirely my fault. I do, I said, because it was easier than the truth. Madison didn't believe me. I could see it in her eyes. My daughter had learned to recognize my lies. The regret came slowly. Not immediately after the divorce. In those months, I was still defensive. Still convinced I'd been protecting Madison. Still telling myself that Robert had overreacted, that the boys had been too sensitive, that my words had been taken out of context. The regret came when Madison started pulling away. It started small. She'd spend more time in her room. Come home from visits with Robert's family glowing with happiness, then go quiet when she saw me. She'd talk about Nathan and Oliver and their new stepmom with an enthusiasm she never showed for our household. You seem happier over there, I said one evening, trying to keep my voice casual. She looked at me for a long moment. It's different there. Different how? Everyone feels like family. Like they're all on the same team. No one keeps score of who gets what or who matters more. I never kept score. Mom, she sighed. You literally told Oliver that Dad's money was only for me. You kept score. Constantly. I was protecting you. From what? From having brothers? From being part of a bigger family? From having more people who loved me? I couldn't answer. I wanted them to be my brothers, Madison continued. I was an only child my whole life and suddenly I had 2 brothers, and it was amazing. Oliver is funny and Nathan is smart and they actually wanted to hang out with me even though I'm younger. You still see them? Not as much as I could have. Not as much as I would have if you'd just let us be a family. She shook her head. I used to be so proud of you, Mom. You raised me alone. You worked so hard. You were my hero. And now? Now I see you differently. Now I understand that you're capable of being really cruel to people who don't deserve it. And I wonder. She stopped. Wonder what? I wonder if you'd be cruel to me too, if I ever did something you didn't approve of. The words hit me like a physical blow. I would never be cruel to you. You were cruel to Oliver. He was 12. He just wanted to go to school with me. And you called him delusional. You told him his father's money wasn't for him. Her voice cracked. Do you know he cried every night for a month? Nathan told me. Oliver thought he'd done something wrong. He thought if he'd just been better, quieter, Less annoying, you would have let him come to Westbrook. I didn't know that. I didn't know because I never asked. Never cared enough to ask. He's doing better now, Madison said. His new stepmom makes him feel wanted. But he still has nightmares sometimes about that dinner. About you telling him he doesn't matter. A 12-year-old boy has nightmares about what I said to him. I did that. Madison left for college when she was 18. She chose a school across the country. Said she wanted to experience something new. But I knew the real reason. She wanted distance from me. We talk on the phone sometimes. Surface conversations about classes and weather and her plans for the future. She never asks for advice. Never shares her problems. Never treats me like the confidant I used to be. I'm her mother, but I'm not her person anymore. She has other people now. Nathan and Oliver, who she visits during breaks. Robert's new wife, who she calls her bonus mom in Instagram posts. A chosen family that doesn't include me. I made myself an outsider in my own daughter's life. Because I couldn't share her with anyone. And now I have less of her than I ever would have had if I'd just opened my heart. I tried to reach out to Robert once, after Madison left for college. I sent him an email. Apologizing. Explaining that I'd been in therapy, that I understood now what I'd done wrong, that I hoped Nathan and Oliver were thriving. He responded 3 days later. Thank you for the apology. I'll share your well wishes with the boys, though I doubt they'll want to respond. Oliver is doing well. He's a sophomore in high school now, on the robotics team, has a lot of friends. He's healing, but your words left scars he still carries. Nathan is in college, studying engineering. He's brilliant, as I always knew he was. They both have a mother now who loves them unconditionally. Who never makes them feel like they're less than. Who celebrates them instead of tolerating them. I hope you find peace. I hope the therapy helps. But please don't contact us again. The boys have moved on, and hearing from you would only reopen wounds that are finally starting to close. Take care of yourself. Robert. I read that email 100 times. Oliver is healing. Your words left scars. They have a mother now who loves them unconditionally. I could have been that mother. I chose not to be. It's Christmas Eve as I write this. Madison is in another state with friends. She sent me a text this morning. Merry Christmas, Mom. Hope you're doing okay. Hope you're doing okay. The kind of message you send to an acquaintance, not to the woman who raised you. I have a tree up. Force of habit. There's one present underneath it. Something I bought for myself because there's no one else to buy for. Robert's family is probably together right now. Him, his wife, Nathan, Oliver, and maybe Madison if she decided to fly out. A big, warm, blended family that I could have been part of. That I chose not to be part of. Because I couldn't share. Because I saw 2 boys as threats instead of sons. Because I told a 12-year-old that his father's money wasn't for him. I've spent a lot of time in therapy trying to understand why I did it. The abandonment issues. The need for control. The fear of losing Madison to a bigger family that might love her differently than I did. All of it is true. All of it explains the behavior. None of it excuses it. I was a grown woman. I made choices. I prioritized my own insecurity over 2 children's well-being. Oliver wanted to go to school with his stepsister. That's all. He wanted to be part of the family. He wanted to belong. And I told him he was delusional for thinking he deserved that. I told a child he was crazy for wanting to be loved equally. What kind of person does that? I know what kind now. I see her in the mirror every morning. If you're reading this and you're part of a blended family. If you have stepchildren you're struggling to love. If you've ever thought of them as his kids or her kids instead of ours. Please stop. Please stop keeping score. Please stop protecting your biological children from having siblings. Please stop making some children feel like they matter less. Because I promise you, they notice. They notice every imbalance, every favoritism, every moment when you choose your child over them. And they carry it forever. Oliver will be 17 this year. 17 years old and still carrying nightmares from what I said to him when he was 12. Nathan is in college. A brilliant engineering student with a bright future who knew from the beginning that his stepmother hated him. Madison is thriving. But not because of me. Despite me. She built her own family from the wreckage I created. She learned what real love looks like from watching Robert's new wife treat Nathan and Oliver as her own. She learned what conditional love looks like from watching me. I taught her the wrong lesson. And I'm spending every holiday alone as a consequence. Robert's money was never just for Madison. Robert's love was never just for Madison. But I tried to make it that way. And I lost everything because I couldn't understand that love isn't a finite resource. That sharing it doesn't diminish it. That families grow stronger when everyone belongs. I made myself an outsider. Now I'm living outside. And the view from here is nothing but regret. When you marry someone with children, you're not getting a partner with baggage. You're getting a family. A ready-made, already loving, built-in family that's offering you a place at their table. I had a seat at that table. Nathan and Oliver made room for me. Madison was building bridges I didn't even see. And I burned it all down because I couldn't stand the idea of sharing. Now I eat every meal alone. My daughter calls me out of obligation. My ex-husband remarried someone who understood what I never could, that there's always enough love. There's always enough room. I just couldn't see it because I was too busy hoarding what I had to notice how much more was being offered.